What if I told you the difference between freedom and slavery doesn't come from governments, bosses, or markets, but from the silent decisions you make before the sun even rises? Every empire has its walls, every king has his sword, and every free man has his discipline. Discipline is not punishment. It is not restriction. It is not some grim routine to chain your spirit. Discipline is the architect of liberty. It is the invisible general that marshals your scattered impulses into an unstoppable army of action. Think about it. Every morning, when your eyes open, two voices stand by your bed. One whispers, "Rest, relax, it can wait." The other declares, "Rise, take command, today is yours to seize." Which one you obey will write your destiny. Jim Rohn once said, "We must all suffer one of two things, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret." And he was right. One pain builds a future, the other buries it. One pain makes you wealthy in time, money, and influence. The other enslaves you in debt, excuses, and missed opportunities. Look at history's titans: Edison, who turned darkness into light after 10,000 failures; Lincoln, who climbed from defeat after defeat to lead a fractured nation; Elon Musk, who risked his last dollar to build rockets when the world laughed. None of them relied on luck. They relied on daily routines that turned chaos into clarity. The world is not destroyed by sudden catastrophes. It is corroded by small, daily neglects. Missing one workout, skipping one plan, ignoring one opportunity. And just like rust eats iron, neglect eats potential. But the opposite is also true. Greatness is not created by giant, one-time acts. It is printed, like currency, in the quiet, repeated rituals of discipline. The 99% think freedom means doing what you want, whenever you want. But that's not freedom, that's slavery to impulse. Real freedom is having the inner command to choose what you must do, even when you don't feel like it. A man who obeys every craving is no freer than a puppet on a string. But the one who forges discipline has cut the strings. He stands tall. He is free. Picture this: a sculptor chiseling marble day after day. To outsiders, it looks repetitive, boring, endless. But one morning, the face of a masterpiece emerges. That's what daily discipline does. It turns the dull stone of routine into the statue of greatness. Ask yourself, what routines print your freedom? What small, repeatable actions form the bank account of your destiny? Is it the 30 minutes of reading before sunrise? The journaling that clarifies your mind? The workout that strengthens your will? Or is it the neglect, the endless scroll, the snooze button, the mindless distractions that silently drain the empire you're meant to build? Freedom is not won on battlefields. It is won in bedrooms, boardrooms, and quiet morning hours where no one is watching. The soldier's discipline sharpens the nation. The leader's discipline guides millions. Your discipline, hidden from the world, builds the invisible foundation on which your entire life rests. Think of your day as a battlefield. Chaos attacks the moment you wake: emails, noise, gossip, fear. But if you armor yourself with routines, you walk into that chaos as a warrior. You are not reacting. You are commanding. You are not tossed by storms. You are steering the ship. Why do most people miss it? Because they confuse routine with boredom. They think freedom is novelty, excitement, chasing every shiny distraction. But let me tell you the truth. Chasing distraction is the fastest road to chains. The man who cannot sit still in silence, who cannot commit to a daily routine, is already imprisoned. But the man who rises at dawn with purpose, who repeats discipline until it becomes reflex, he bends the universe. Discipline is not rigid. It is the rhythm of greatness. It's the drumbeat of success. It's why Benjamin Franklin charted his virtues daily, why Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations each morning, why Steve Jobs wore the same black turtleneck. Simplicity, repetition, focus, the tools of the disciplined mind. The undisciplined man is like a river without banks, wild, loud, chaotic, but ultimately lost in the sands. The disciplined man is like a river channeled through stone, silent, unstoppable, carving valleys and powering cities. And here's the brutal truth. Life doesn't care what you intended. It rewards only what you repeated. Success is not built on rare explosions of effort, but on the steady grind of consistent action. One disciplined routine, repeated daily, will outperform 1,000 bursts of motivation. So, here is the question you must confront. Are your daily routines serving your future or stealing it? When you wake tomorrow, will you give in to chaos? Or will you awaken discipline and command yourself like a warrior? Because the war is not out there, it is in here. Inside your habits, inside your thoughts, inside your routines. And make no mistake, the 1%, those who print freedom while others drown in chaos, are not superhuman. They are simply those who learned the warrior's secret. Discipline is the seed, routine is the soil, and freedom is the harvest. The tragedy is not that men aim too high and miss, but that they aim too low and hit. The masses design their routines around comfort, not greatness. They wake when the world tells them, eat when cravings shout, and spend their hours like beggars tossing coins into a fire. And then they wonder why their lives collapse under the weight of regret. But the few, the rare 1%, treat routine like a blueprint. They are architects of their hours. They construct mornings like generals planning battle. They program their days like engineers coding machines. And in that order, in that discipline, they find their liberation. You must understand, the mind is a wild horse. Left untamed, it bolts toward distraction, drags you through fear, and tramples your vision. But once disciplined, once harnessed through daily routines, it becomes a stallion that carries you across deserts of doubt and storms of uncertainty. The greatest fortunes, the greatest inventions, the greatest revolutions were all ridden into existence on the back of disciplined thought. Napoleon Hill wrote that definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all achievement. But definiteness without routine is a firework. It flares, dazzles, then vanishes. Routine is what transforms definiteness into destiny. It's what carves purpose into the stone of reality. Thomas Edison did not stumble into invention by waiting for lightning to strike his mind. He showed up daily to his lab. 10,000 failed routines, repeated without fail, led to the single light that now burns in every city. Henry Ford did not wake up one morning and build the Model T by impulse. He built systems, routines, processes disciplined, repetition that turned steel and oil into the freedom of the open road. So I ask you, where are your routines carving the road to freedom? And where are they chaining you to mediocrity? Every action you repeat is either building a palace or a prison. The scroll through endless feeds, the late-night indulgence, the skipped workout, the abandoned journal, each one lays another brick in the walls of confinement. But the early wake, the sharpened focus, the planned hour of study, those bricks raise the pillars of your empire. And here is the paradox. Discipline feels like sacrifice in the moment, but it is the only thing that compounds into freedom. Neglect feels like freedom in the moment, but it compounds into chains. Freedom is always purchased in advance with the currency of discipline. Imagine two men, both wake at dawn. One reaches for his phone, drowning in other people's lives before he's lived his own. The other sits in silence, breathes, writes his vision, and takes command of his mind. 10 minutes of distraction, 10 minutes of clarity. Multiply it by 10 years, and you no longer have two men, you have a prisoner and a king. The 99% lose not because they lack talent, but because they lack rhythm. They live like broken drums, making noise without music. The 1% live like symphonies, each hour a note, each routine a melody, each day a masterpiece. And here is the brutal clarity. No one will hand you freedom. Not governments, not bosses, not mentors. Freedom is forged, and the forge is lit in the fire of daily discipline. Why do so many resist it? Because routine looks ordinary. It looks dull. Who wants to repeat the same actions every day? But that is the great illusion. Discipline is the mother of extraordinary. A man who controls his mornings eventually controls industries. A woman who masters her time eventually masters nations. The mundane routines the world ignores are the very keys to extraordinary power. Look at Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome. Surrounded by chaos, betrayals, and war, he found his freedom in the routine of reflection, journaling each morning his stoic meditations. Look at Warren Buffett, building his empire, not through risky gambles, but through the routine of patient reading, disciplined decisions, compounding daily habits into billions. Look at athletes who do not win gold medals on race day, but in the hidden, lonely repetition of disciplined training when the stadium is empty. Freedom is not an event. It is a routine lived daily in silence. And one day, when the world sees your success, they will call you lucky. But you will know it was the discipline they never saw. Discipline is not a chain. It is a sword, a weapon you forge each dawn, sharpen with each repetition, and wield against the enemies of distraction, doubt, and weakness. Those without discipline live as peasants of their impulses, bowing to every craving, enslaved by every distraction. But those with discipline, those who awaken early, move with intention, guard their hours as treasure, they rise as conquerors of their destiny. Jim Rohn once said, "Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment." But understand this, bridges are built stone by stone, routine by routine. You don't leap from vision to victory, you walk across the bridge of daily discipline, one brick of action at a time. Every great builder of history knew this truth. The pyramids were not raised in a single motion, but through disciplined repetition, stone upon stone, until they pierced the sky. Michelangelo did not free David from the marble by striking wildly, but by disciplined chiseling, day after day, until perfection emerged. Elon Musk did not build rockets by chasing moods. He showed up relentlessly, routine after routine, until impossible became launch. And so must you. Your greatness will not appear in an explosion of inspiration. It will rise slowly, rhythmically, through the rituals you practice when no one is watching. Do not ask for motivation. Motivation is waned here today, gone tomorrow. Ask for discipline. Discipline is the keel that keeps the ship steady when storms strike. It is the anchor that holds you when temptation calls. It is the compass that redirects you when fear clouds your vision. You want freedom? Then master your mornings. Guard your hours. Stack routines like bricks until you stand upon a fortress so high that no chaos can breach it. Because the truth is, savage chaos never disappears. The world will always roar with distraction, with demands, with noise. But if you have discipline, you will rise above the noise like an eagle that does not argue with storms. It simply flies higher. Picture yourself 1 year from now. Same environment, same world. The only difference will be the routines you executed or neglected. Did you wake early, focus, read, build, create? Or did you drift, scroll, delay, surrender? That choice, repeated daily, will decide whether you walk as king or crawl as captive. The 99% will remain enslaved because they never master the invisible hours. The 1% rise because they weaponize their routines. Discipline is not glamorous, but it is glorious. It is the quiet architect of freedom, the hidden builder of wealth, the secret script of legacies. So what will you do with your hours? Will you sell them cheap to distraction, or invest them like diamonds into routines that compound into power? The battle begins the moment you open your eyes. Every sunrise is war, and only the disciplined win.